Today we're going to take a journey along Blue River, stopping at the small towns that grew up along Blue River. One piece you really need to know is the Rothrock family really liked to build mills along Blue River. Right now I'm standing on the Rothrock Mill Bridge. The historic Rothrock Mill Bridge has been removed and installed on the Indian Creek walking trail through Hazelwood Park. Flatboats were built at Babcock's upriver. Then the flatboats were floated downriver to our next stop, Rothrock's Mill. And this Rothrock Mill was operated by descendants of Solomon Rothrock, including Philo Rothrock and sons Luther and Henry. I'm going to read you a piece of Rothrock Mill Community News. This is from May 20th, 1875. Messrs. Rothrock and Babcock attempted to pass out of Blue River during the recent rise of that stream with two flatboats loaded with lumber. But the current was quite swift, and the boats, becoming unmanageable, were dashed against trees and ledges of rocks along the shore and completely wrecked. The owners losing their boats and nearly all their lumber. Here we are at one of the Rothrock's mills along Blue River, one of the many Rothrock mills along Blue River. This is most familiarly known as the Philo Rothrock Mill. Solomon Rothrock, son of Peter Rothrock and brother of Henry Peter Rothrock, who settled at Wyandotte, moved upriver and operated this Rothrock's Mill. Philo Rothrock's Mill was upriver from Abram Rothrock's Mill at Slabtown, and it was located between Sharp's Mill, downriver, and Babcock's Mill, upriver. People today are more familiar with this mill site since it serves as a public access point to Blue River for fishermen, canoers, kayakers, and swimmers. It is the property of Indiana Department of Natural Resources. The mill was torn down in 1986, although remnants of the mill's pillars and the dam remain. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting right on top of one of those pillars. Okay, I have made it down off the pillar. We're still at Solomon Rothrock, Philo Rothrock, Luther and Henry Rothrock's mill. I wanted to make sure you saw the remnants of the dam. When I was little, when I went all the way across, you could walk across on it, climb up it, things like that. But through the years, that has changed. Sometimes this is a treacherous spot. There have actually been people that have drowned when they try to come off of this. But it is some great whitewater kayaking in season. In the early days, there was a swinging bridge across Blue River. Blue River Village is mostly a weekend community composed of river rats who maintain camps on the banks of Blue River. It was carved from the nearby Harmon Farm. Blue River Village once boasted entry signs at each end of town which stated, Blue River Village, population 4, except weekends. Gibbs Wiseman built a shelter house known as Gibbs Grove in Blue River Village in 1934, where picnics were held by churches, farm bureaus, homemakers, and other community groups. Sharp's Mill. Sharp's Mill, also known as Sharptown, was a bustling, highly industrial, progressive pioneer community that featured grist and carding mills operated by water power by Horatio Sharp, later Abraham Sharp. George P.R. Wilson opened a township library in his house in Sharptown. There were about 15 or more houses in the community. William R. Swearens conducted a store and also served as postmaster. The ford at Sharp's Mill could be deep and dangerous, as evidenced by this Sharptown Community News from September 4th, 1879. An inquest was held on the body of Rebecca Sharp, found dead and supposed to come to her death by violence or casualty. She was about 18 years old, about 5 foot 6 inches high, light complexion and dark hair, and weighed about 160 pounds. She had on a dark calico suit and had a small shawl tied around her neck, and was bareheaded and barefooted. She had no valuables of any kind on her person. It was determined she came to her death at her own hands by drowning. We're standing on the site of another Rothrock's mill, Abram Rothrock's mill. Later it was known as Slabtown. Abram Rothrock's mill was located about 100 feet above the mouth of the Spring Branch, where Harrison Spring empties into Blue River. A dam was constructed and a 4-story mill was built by Abram Rothrock. Abram was a son of Henry Peter Rothrock and a cousin of Philo. After Rothrock's death, the mill was sold. H.R. LeMay purchased the mill in 1905 and opened the LeMay Handle Factory. LeMay did a booming business at the site of Slabtown, so named for the sawmill's wood slabs that were produced there. It was reported that the handle factory kept so busy, LeMay could not keep up with the demand for high-grade hickory handles. George Rothrock also operated a store at Slabtown, and there was also a barber shop where it cost a man 10 cents to get a haircut. The LeMay Handle Factory burned down January 18, 1913. And our final stop on our journey down Blue River is at White Cloud. I'm standing in front of the Rothrock store that remains. There was also a Rothrock mill located in White Cloud. On May 11, 1880, William R. Rothrock moved his family from Fox Hollow in Scott Township upriver to White Cloud. Soon after they arrived, the Rothrocks started building their own mill here in 1882 at a cost of $18,000. This mill was designed to process flour and functioned as both a grist and sawmill. For some time, the mill went by the name of the Beechwood Mill. Other names considered for the White Cloud community were Beechwood and Sycamore Island. One day, Mary Ann McCullum Rothrock, William's wife, noticed some fleecy white clouds floating in the blue sky above their home. She also remembered reading a story in which an Indian warrior named Chief White Cloud was the hero. She connected the two images and suggested that they call their new hometown White Cloud. And White Cloud was born. And here we are on the outskirts of White Cloud, standing on the site of the old White Cloud Bridge. Behind me in the background, you can see the remains of the William R. Rothrock Dam, as well as the mill race. When people used to travel this direction on the way to St. Louis, they had to actually pass through the town of White Cloud. But when Highway 62 came through, that was no longer needed, and the bridge was actually removed in the 1990s. The Highway 62 spelled the end for White Cloud. Although they kept their post office till 1934, much longer than many other small town post offices.